Okay, Haston, let's go ahead and check this out. So this is actually looking pretty good. Couple of things I would say. It feels like the ground must be kind of rough or like grassy because this ball has a lot of momentum moving forward, but it loses it really quickly. So it makes me think that it's like getting caught up in something on here. The other thing I would really say, like this first bounce actually looks really, this first ball looks really good, and these bounces look really good. The only issue with it is hide the rig. Like you just turn off the visibility on NURBS curves when you play blast it, and it'll really help this communicate a little bit better. You also feel like the ball kind of hesitates a little bit. This little ball, it's like it's moving forward, and it's like right there, it kind of hesitates as move forward, and then slows down. So I'd say play with how this ball feels like it's moving forward. But otherwise, it's looking pretty good. Okay, Jordan. Okay, I'll open that one up, and while I'm doing it, I'll go look at Emily's here. So Emily, another note, and this goes for everybody, just hiding your rig will really help the way this communicates. Um, so this one's odd to me. It's like they both roll to a stop together here, and I wonder if that was on purpose or. Um, this is working pretty good. I think you're getting a little bit of that, like, it feels like it slows in just a touch right there. So maybe if it feels like you have broken your tangents, but you may need to break them a little bit more. Like really make the. Sometimes what people will have is their tangents will, not their tangents, but their curve will look like this, which is much better than than this perfect sine wave. But what you're really wanting is like to push it even more and get something maybe like this sharp dip in and this sharp dip out. And so it may just need to be pushed a little bit more. I'm also seeing a fair amount of it feels like sliding in a few spots. So like there, like on this front ball, like it's moving forward quite a bit, but it's not really rotating. And so here that's getting close, but and although I think the idea of having them roll almost to the exact same spot and stop, like that's kind of an interesting idea. Um, this feels a little too perfect, a little too precise, and a little too even. Like they roll for a long time here at sort of a constant rate, and then suddenly slow down. So I think having that sort of ease to a stop and having them both ease to a stop at the same point would be fine. But it just feels a little too perfect right there at the end. To Jordan's open. Okay. So here we go. We're getting this again where the ball kind of swoops in. Doesn't really feel like the tangents have been adjusted at all. I guess we can look and see. Nope. And so again, just I feel like this is something that just can bear repeating as many times as you all can hear it. You have to do this. Like it's not going to look right if you don't. Um, and so just making that difference there. Let's see what this looks like. So that's helping with how it's bouncing. You still need to work on the movement forward. And so we see it kind of hits the wall here, there, and then just sort of jumps off really quickly. And so that's also something you need to work on, a little bit of the speed. And of course the major missing element of this is the second ball. So there's that. Lindsay, let's go ahead and open this up in QuickTime. So somebody pointed out it's kind of the Pokemon ball. So I think that this feels pretty good. There's a little bit more of like you get a decent amount of sliding right through here, and I feel like it needs I mean your bounces actually look pretty good, but it sort of slides across here and sliding here too, and then this bounce feels a little too. I don't know. That bounce feels odd to me. Like a little slow, and then it's got this, and maybe a little high, like for the size. Like my impression is that this is supposed to be a pretty heavy ball, right? I think I would have it roll a little slower here, and then kind of just barely kind of thud on that and bounce off. I like the change in directions there. I think this bounces a little high and a little too slow though if it's a really heavy ball. Because keep in mind, gravity's pulling on this thing real hard, and so it's having to overcome gravity quite a bit to make it up that high. And so I would believe that it could bounce that high if it had fallen from a really high height. But at the same time, I would think it would bounce faster than that, even if it did bounce that high. And if it hits really hard, like maybe even just having it sort of jar this ball when it hits the ground will just kind of show that weight as well. Melanie. So the bounces are looking pretty good. They get a little sharp right here toward the end, like a little dunk. That's just a big. It's like it's not starting to fall too much, and it kind of hesitates, and then so that tangent may almost be too sharp, which is something I rarely say. Um, and then it kind of almost stops rolling forward right there, and then slowly starts rolling forward again. So just play with your tangents there. Of course, I'm focusing on this front ball. The rear ball, my only note about it is it's kind of sliding as it rolls there. So it's like it feels like it's just kind of sort of rolling in place. So you need a little bit more motion on that, or a little less rotation on that. Joseph. So that's not bad. We got some pretty good bounces there. But then we kind of got a little bit of sliding there at the end. And this one, the red one at the beginning, is kind of sliding there a little bit as it rolls. And it just kind of stops right there at the end of that. I think you really add to that by having it roll back just a little bit. JC, wrong place, movies, open with. Okay, again, when play blasting it, just hide the stuff and deselect the objects to make it. Yeah. So I think we kind of covered a lot of these things in previous comments, which is the ball kind of slowing down right here as it hits the ground, both of them. And so that's just going to be that breaking the tangents thing. Um, and then it kind of seems to speed up right there. And I think the rotation's not that bad. It stops rotating right there at the end. So you just got to kind of mess around with the tangents a little bit. But this one's just a little bit. It feels just like it needs more polish and more attention to it. So it just feels a little early to me. Like it needs just a decent amount of additional work on it. Sarah. Okay. Okay, this one as well feels like it's slowing down as it comes toward the ground here. Is it really? It's not much. I mean, I can feel like that change in direction right there. So I think that you've broken the tangents there. It almost feels like they're linear tangents though. Like, so you don't need to break them at the top. Let's look and see what we got there. So if I look at the blue controller here, Translate Y. Okay, no, they're not linear, but it's this. Like, it's just even, it's doing a little bit more like this is what you're going to need. Because what you want it to feel like is that as it gets up to the top of its bounce, it's moving upward, 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 and then gravity starts to pull it back down, and then it's moving downward, downward, downward. So that's kind of what you need to kind of get more of like this type of arc on there. And I think that will really help. So let's just see what that does to the first bounce. So it kind of slows down after the first bounce. I'm looking at the rainbowy one. And this one's feeling like a jump. I think you're getting some interesting hops in there. It's feeling a little slow. Again, it's feeling a little bit more like a hop than a jump or than a bounce, which that's alright, I guess. That may be feeling that way because we don't have any markers to see how it rolls. So just by animating the, I guess we'd say it a little bit better on this one. Animating the red curve just to get some spin on this as it rolls will really make it feel more like an actual ball rolling around. Right now it feels like it's more like, both of them kind of feel more like they're bouncing. Yeah, so I see how they're doing that. They're kind of bouncing instead of rolling. So, okay, so let's close this. Don't save. Shay. One more time. Overall, it looks pretty good. You're getting a little bit of sliding on your roll right here on this ball toward the end. So you'll see like it's kind of, sliding a little bit right there. And you get a little bit of slide on this one right there at the end too. So, but your weight's feeling pretty good on them actually. I guess I'm a little surprised how far this one rolls, considering how much it's moving forward on its bounces. It's not moving very far forward, so I would kind of expect it to run out of energy and stop maybe somewhere in this neighborhood. Okay, but otherwise it's looking good. Steven. Ooh, pen. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I feel like there's maybe a little bit of spacing issues right here. Well, okay, so there's one thing that I notice. I get a little confused right here. They do that, and my eye gets a little confused of which one's which, and I kind of lose them. So I think my preference would be to have one of them a little bit more in front of the other. And then I feel like maybe right there, if we track from, okay, so the rear ball, I guess, starts right here, right? And then it moves forward to its peak, which is right about there, and then forward again to its ground point. Maybe I'm wrong. I was going to say it felt to me like that this was a little bit too far back that way in the bounce, but maybe not. And I guess the only other little thing I would say is this doesn't seem like it's slowing down. It seems like it's going to constantly roll at that pace forever. So I'd have it start to slow down a little bit more toward the end. Even if it does roll all the way out, just have it sort of slowing its acceleration. Christina. So the first one actually looks pretty good. These last few bounces are a little slower. It's like all the bounces are taking the same amount of time. So I think maybe this one could be a a little shorter, and then this little one feels like it takes a little long too, right there at the end. Um, so I don't know if this one is feeling. So I think the first one looks pretty good. The second one feels a little bit more like a beach ball. But if it were a beach ball, I don't know if it would roll all the way off screen like that. I think it would sort of roll to a stop. So that's my thinking on it. This one feels pretty good, except for the bounces get a little slow, and then this one rolls a little too long. So the fact that it rolls too long makes me think it's heavier, but the bounces feel more like a beach ball. So okay, Matthew. This one looks really good. The only thing I would say, get a little bit of a twitch right there in the red one. And I know it's part of the squash and stretch, but it feels like it's hesitating its movement forward there and then jumping forward. And so it feels like it twitches just a little bit right there. And then the only other little thing I would say is I feel right here, like right through there, it feels like it's sliding just a little bit. And so otherwise it's looking pretty good. Seth, switch this one. Yeah, I gotta drag that out. Seth. Um, nice. So this one's looking good. Only a couple of little things I would say is um, right here the front. Sorry, the front ball. So let's look at the front ball first. Bounce looks good. It looks like it loses forward momentum. It's coming pretty fast forward and it loses forward momentum. And then right through there, it feels like it's sliding a little bit. And then it changes directions. And it feels like it slides just a touch there at the end. Now let's look at the rear ball. Um, it's actually looking pretty good when watching in slow motion. It feels like it slides a little bit right there. And if I watch it at full speed, it feels like it also kind of bounces off the wall a little fast. Like it goes from here, and then this section through there feels like it picks up a little bit of energy just for a beat, and then slows down. So you may just want to stretch that section out keyframe wise, make it happen over, add maybe a frame or two in between there to make that happen a little slower. Let's see, anybody else got anything? Okay, that looks like everything. So I will upload these, and this will give you hopefully enough feedback on what to revise and kind of explain the grade. So let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.